Sweet. All right, class. Part two. This is called additional formulas. It's like all the stuff we didn't get to yet. But if you look at your formula sheet that I gave you, up on top, it says product of sum formulas 5.5. We good? That's all we're going to do. And then, oh, that's right. And we're going to go with on the very bottom of your sheet. Well, let's see if this works. There it is. Look at the very bottom of your sheet. You also have something called sum to product formula that says also 5.5. So it's kind of like going one way or the other way is which way does it go? So let's go with it. Let's actually set them up first. We good?
Combination of the sum formula and the doubling formula and the sum formula and the
Ooh, not the double angle form, but just the two sum formulas together. Yeah. So let's go there. Also noticed that you guys don't have A and B. It's actually alpha plus beta. Just to make it a little different, you could have just put A and B in there as well, right? But and we'll show you why in just a bit here, because
why didn't they have beta on some of them?
Variables had to change just a little bit. Theta is usually given if there's only one angle. And then capital A, capital B are you given if there's multiple angles, right? And then if they want to be fancy, these Greek letters, alpha plus beta, to give you multiple angles. Absolutely. Well, half of it's Greek. All right, let's go then. So let's develop it up. I think we did it last time here, but I'm going to develop it real quick here. So let me develop the formulas here real quick here. So if you guys go back and you write the sum formula for sine, are we okay with this one being the sum formula for sine? And let me move this stuff around here. Let me put that over here. Let me put this all the way down there so it doesn't bug us. No, still going to bug us.
I'm basically a nerd, you know?
All right, here we go. So that is the sum formula for sine. True, true. Verify that with me, please. Okay, and then we have the difference formula for sine. So remember, the only difference between the two is you have a minus in between the two products. And all we're going to do is we're going to add these guys together.
Did we do this already?
Yeah, we did this last time here, right? I'm just going to developing it again. So if I do that, I'm going to get two of the stuff that's on the left, right? Sine A cosine B, another sine A cosine B makes two sine A cosine B. But middle terms cancel completely. Awesome. They're done. Okay, they go away. So that the right-hand side of the equal sign now becomes sine of A plus B plus sine of A minus B. Okay, so the only thing we got to do is divide by 2. So if you divide by 2 everywhere, you get this right here, which is 1/2 as a multiplier all the way out in front, according to our little formula sheet. And there it is. Or you could divide by 2. Either one or the other is just fine.
So why
yes, that's the easy one to develop. We good? Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Let's see. So the next product formula, I was going to just write it down, but we could develop it if neither. Instead of adding, what we do is we subtract the 2. What's going to happen if you subtract the 2? So real quick here, since we have a question on it here, let's jam with this one here.
Yeah.
So what is that one called?
This is called, now it's all the way up on top, and it's called the product sum. Notice the left side is a product. It's the product of sine of A cosine B. And this one is a sum of the formulas. So maybe to answer your question here, real quick. We had a question of what happens. Why is the other formulas a little different? They're slightly different based upon what you have over here. We good? Notice real quick here, just out of curiosity, instead of adding, if we were to subtract, what happens to this one now? Sine of A cosine B, sine of A cosine B. That's going to go away. Is that right? What's going to happen to these guys? Whoa, how did that happen? Okay. What's going to happen to these guys? Whoop. Okay. Yeah, what's happening here is that these guys will actually double now, right? Cosine of A sine B subtract a negative cosine of A sine B. What's that going to give us? It's going to be a positive, right? It's going to give us 2, right? 2 cosine A cosine B's, right? And then what's going to happen over here, we're going to get a sine of A plus B minus the sine of A minus B. Are we good there? So that gives us the next formula. I'll just write it down. Let's see. How about this? Cosine of A sine B, 1/2. Now it's the subtraction between the two. Are we good there? All right. And again, the reason why we're doing this is because in calculus, when you take in something called the antiderivative, sometimes you get stuck if you have two trig functions multiplying each other. And what happens is this is a way that you can undo that, and then you can actually do the problem. Then sometimes you get stuck when they're adding or subtracting. So you go the other way and you put them into a product, and then you have a certain product that fits a formula, and you keep on going. So I'm just going to write down the rest of them. We're good, just so we have them and your notes as a reference. So that is the 2 of them. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. There's 2, and there'll be 2 more in just a second. And so you can kind of see where the other 2 are going to come from. Oh, yes, except those grass, turf. Is that sliding home or sliding third? I think so. Gotcha.
It's gonna be lead, and then make the second. I took off the third, and I overslid the base. My toe was still on the base. I was laying out.
You didn't get out though, did you?
No.
Okay, good. All right. So this is called the product of sum formulas. There are 4 in here. This is just the first 2. And this is based upon the sum or difference formula for sine. Are we good? Good. All right, tell me when you guys are done. We got 2 more. So if you want to write them down, that's cool. Some people need to write them down just to kind of get them into their brain. And some people are like, Mr. G, if I have them on the formula, I'm totally okay. Any which way, that kind of helps you to process that. So these guys are really just to use the formula and put it together here. So question. Yeah.
It's used to
No, it would be 2 cosine A sine B, right? And just like this one here, we would have a 2 here. And then what we do is we would divide by 2 here, and then divide by 2 here. And that's how we get this little 2 right there. But just the division by 2 each time. Okay, are we good now? 2 more, and you guys tell me where these 2 formulas may come from, right here. Here's the other 2, cosine of A, cosine of B. It's 1/2 cosine of A plus B plus cosine of A minus B. And then we have the sine A sine B product. So let's see, last time we did the sum of difference formulas for sine. Can you guys look at the sum of difference formulas for cosine and see maybe possibly that is how we got these as well? All right, so it seems like we just did the same thing, right? We just took the sum and difference formulas for cosines, right? And we added them both together. And by adding them, it canceled off the sines. And then we did the other ones here. So I'm just giving it to you as formulas, but we could have developed each and every single one of those real quick here.
So in the sine A cosine B, then cosine A sine B, it was sine A plus B plus sine A minus B, and then sine A plus B minus sine A minus B. But the first one was cosine A plus B, and the second one is cosine A minus B to start out.
So notice we used, like for this one here, right? This one was based upon the sum and different formulas for cosine. Right, so if we were to write those formulas out, give me those formulas here. Let's see, what is it for cosine? I think it's cosine of A. If I wrote down is it minus, is that right? Minus sine A sine B, right? And that is the addition formula for cosine. True. And then what is the difference formula for cosine? Just the sign changes. Remember that? We just had sign changes there. So if we get this is now the difference formula. So now the question is, what happens if I were to add these guys together? This is canceled, true. And here we get a double, right? Double of this. And we get ourselves cosine of A plus B. There's my sum formula. I'm adding them together, right? There's my difference formula. If I'm trying to solve for this side, all we got to do is divide by 2. And divide by 2, and then cosine of A, cosine of B. And the formula itself is not a division by 2, it's a multiplication by 1/2. That's all. So we just get
You were
something like that.
wondering why cosine A minus B is first on the second.
Cosine of A minus B.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. True. And I'm just wondering if that's the formula itself here. I can see a formula over here. That is super cool. Good question. Very observant. Awesome. Okay. So then Adrian said, you know what, this is kind of interesting how notice that this guy now is the minus, the formula, this formula actually came over here. And it's like a flip of this. Is that true? So let's see what happened there. So can I erase this part right here real quick here? Can I erase that part? Are we okay with this part? Going once, going twice?
Yeah.
Zoom. So what happens if I subtract these guys here? So cosine of A, cosine of B, is it minus or it's minus, right? Minus. I know you guys have to help me out here. This is the sum formula for cosine. Boom, 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 boom. The difference formula is cosine of A, cosine of B, add sine A, cosine B, and this is now cosine of A minus B. So let's take a look at this here. If you were to subtract both sides of this, what do you get? Whoa, that was a weird one. Thank you so much. Yes, So let me actually get the correct formula. Those would be sines, right? Okay, sine B. Okay. If I were to subtract both of these, what do I get? Here's my little question here. Those are gone, is that right? Okay, what's a negative sine A cosine B? Sorry, subtract a sine A sine B.
Oh, I see how it is. Because the okay, I get it.
So yeah, we have a negative on our hands. First time ever, we get a negative on our hands. Is that right? Remember when we subtracted the other one, it was a positive on top, negative on the bottom. So because of that,
Just
we're gonna say, yeah, no problem. Yeah, let me just finish it off just so we have it here. So some textbooks, what they have, I'll just tell you here. So when you divide -2, all right, we divide this by -2, we divide this by -2. Some textbooks, they have it written as this: sine of A, sine of B equal to -1/2 of the formula. Are we good there? And it's still, it keeps the cosine and sine always plus in the beginning, right? Your book decided to, and then the funny thing is, then only this one has a negative in front, right? And then other authors say, you know what, I'm going to put a positive 1/2, so it's always a positive 1/2 in front. But then as you distribute the negative to here, this is the minus, now this is the plus. So then this is the one that changes. You know, and then mathematicians and conferences, they wrestle to which one's the correct formula. Okay, we're good there. That's super cool. Okay, so now on the next problem, all we're gonna do is just verify that this is true. Whenever you say verify, it just means plug in the numbers. That's all. Plug in the numbers to see if it works for those numbers. We're good? Now it says formula number 3. So from the formulas I gave you guys, which one's formula number 3?
Cosine A cosine B.
Yep, cosine A, cosine B. That's formula number 3. So just plug in the values in here. And you're not proving the formula, you're just verifying. So you're verifying to make sure the right side and the left side turn out to be exactly the same using those numbers right there.
My brain is foggy right now.
Uh-huh.
Cosine A plus B, that would be cosine 150.
Absolutely. So you got to be mindful of what you're adding, what you're subtracting here. All right, give you guys time to do it yourself here. Let me take a look at the time. Three problems. Just because of time, we good? Let me start it with you guys here, right? And we'll kind of go just a little bit faster here. So this is cosine of 30 degrees and then cosine of 120 degrees. That should be the same thing as 1/2 of cosine of 150. We good? It's 30 plus 20. This one's gonna be a little rough here. There's gonna be 30 minus 120, which is negative 90. All right, so let's go with it here. So cosine of 30 degrees is root 3 over 2 multiplied by cosine of 120. Negative 1/2. Perfecto. Okay, so we have 1/2 here based on the formula cosine of 150. 2. And a cosine of negative 90.
0.
Just a 0.
Negative 0. No.
All right, in this case, you can kind of see how those two should be the same pretty much, because you got the multiplication of the same numbers here. So we're just verifying the formula itself. Just going to see if it proves correct. And so got this one. Formula and formula. Okay. Okay, and can I go on to the next slide? Cool. And then look at that. That's kind of cool. I just kept the same numbers. Didn't know. That's cool. Okay, and we're going to multiply this guy together. So negative root 3 over 4. Are we good there? And this is going to be negative root 3 over 4. They matched. We are good. We have just verified the formula. We good? Now, when we say verify the formula, it just means it will only work for 30 and 120, right? We know it works all the time, right? But we just verified it for those two numbers. Okay, another one that we do this stuff here from the homework. The homework. Write this one here. So let's see. This one looks like a product formula, doesn't it? Can we write it as a sum or difference of the one that actually fits it? Now the question is, which one of those does it fit? Are we okay with the second one? It's the cosine sum formula, right? Cosine of A. So if I were to write this out, let me just write this out over here on the bottom. Right, and the formula I'm going to use is cosine of A sine B. Are we good there? So my A technically is 5x, and my B is 3x. But let me write down the formula. The formula is 1/2 sine of A plus B minus of A minus B. That is my formula. Okay, that little 10 there, all the way in front, right? We're just going to keep it all the way out in front. And we can also already do 10 times a half, which is 5, but I'm going to keep it just to make sure that we have it there. So 10 is sticking out in front. The rest of it is this little formula right here. So it's 1/2 sine of 5x plus 3x minus sine of 5x minus 3x. That's it. So we're just converting one to the other. We're good? Don't forget it, we're multiplying by 10 all the way in the beginning of it all, but it's really 10 times a half, which is 5. And it's sine of 8x is perfect minus sine of 2x. Yeah, don't forget to put the little extra parentheses, or if you want to keep it as a bracket, that is an extra parenthesis or bracket right after the 5 and all the way at the end. For this one, no. I mean, you can distribute the 5. That's about it. But we normally keep it like that. Yeah.
Brackets and not have to make a parentheses.
Again?
Keep them as brackets and not make a parentheses.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we good? So Ptolemy, sitting there contemplating this, he just says to himself, I have a product to sum formula. How can I make a sum to product formula if it's kind of going to be sort of like the same formula? So what I really need to do is I just need to switch my angles around. Are we good? So let's think about this one for a little bit here. Put the clock here. I'm going to have it here. So let me do this. So here it is. Remember we have an angle A over here, right? We have angle B. Follow me. Smart little cookie. This is what he decides to do. He decides to say this here. So since I have a sum to product formulas, I have two angles. And one of those angles is A plus B always, is that right? And one of those angles is always A minus B. So how about if I create a whole new different angle? I can call it C and D if I like, right? But Ptolemy, he's super cool, right? He says, I'm going to use some Greek letters. He says, look, I'm going to use A. My angle A is going to be, or sorry, alpha. Alpha is going to be A plus B. Same exact formula that we just had.
Wait, that's confusing.
Yep, it'll be weird. Just a little bit here. He has to set it up this way because he wants to undo the work on the other side. So then beta is going to be A minus B. That's what we're going to do right now. So what he does is he adds these guys together. So what is the addition of the left and right? So again, he could have used C and D, right? Just didn't want to. A, that's right. If you divide by 2, we get ourselves the angle that we're used to is really just alpha plus beta divided by 2. Can we do the same thing for the B angle? Absolutely. We'll go over here. Let's set up the same exact thing. Again, A alpha is A plus B, beta is A minus B, and we are going to subtract this time. What do we get? We get alpha minus beta. Is that true? What happens here, though? A's are gone. Is that right? And we got B minus a negative B. Would be divided by 2. In this case, it is B. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to substitute those guys into the product that we know. Again, there's 4 formulas here, right? So we are going to replace, let's do the first one, because the first one's the one that we developed originally here. So to the first formula that we had already, we are going to replace any A value of angle, we're going to replace by alpha plus beta divided by 2. Any B angle that we have, we're going to replace it with alpha minus beta divided by 2. And let's go for it here. So rewriting the first formula we ever created, kind of A cosine B equals 1/2. And guys, tell me if I'm going too fast. I can. So notice what's really happening is where's a single angle that's sitting there? That's what we want to know, right? Where's my single angle? So for cosine of A, notice that my A angle sitting next to sine, right? My B angle sitting next to cosine. I'm going to replace it with sine of alpha plus beta divided by 2. Cosine alpha minus beta divided by 2, because those are my two definitions. 1/2. And now I got myself, what is A plus B? Just alpha. We good? Remember how we did on the previous slide? Alpha was A plus B, and beta was A minus B. So got it. We're good here. Notice my single angles now are on the right-hand side. And you know what? Whenever I solve for formulas, I kind of like nothing else to be there, right? So the right-hand side, I got to get rid of that 1/2. What am I going to do? Multiply it by 2, right? Multiply by 2. So here's my formula. It's 2 sine of alpha plus beta divided by 2. Cosine alpha minus beta divided by 2 is equal to sine alpha plus sine beta. Okay, and it works the exact same way for all the other formulas. So we're good. So all we did is we just made the right-hand side to be the single angle. So we're good. So now on the right-hand side, notice is just sine of alpha, which is a single angle. And it's sine of beta, which is just a single angle. Okay, you guys have that one written down. And normally the other part is, this is whenever we solve for stuff, we normally like to have whatever solved for on the left side. Are we good? So we're just going to switch the sides over. Are we good? And here it is. So sine of alpha plus beta is 2 sine of alpha plus beta divided by 2 cosine of alpha minus beta divided by 2. We're good there. And if we did this to all 3 other formulas that we had, if you want to write these down, here's the next one. Sine of alpha minus beta. It's literally doing the exact same thing to the second formula that we had on the list. We good? And then do the exact same thing to the third formula on the list. And then we do the exact same thing to the last formula on the list. And now notice that little -2 comes back. Because that's the So some of you guys writing it down because you guys want to write it down, go for it. Some of you say, formula's on the sheet already. I need to copy it down. And that's fine too. All right, so formula number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And these guys are called the sum to product formulas. We're good? And it's kind of like,
Just now.
it's just that in reverse. The only thing is because our single angle now is next to the cosine and sine. Okay, so we're just going to verify. We're good? Yeah, sure. That's right. Sure, yeah. Let's go with it here. So you can use the first formula because so yeah, good question, Maddie. So you could use the same formula because on the right side you have A plus B, right? You have 2 angles that are adding each other. So they're not single angles. We're good? So notice on this side right here. Notice on this side, you have angles that are being added or subtracted. We're good? So we go over here, and so I'm going to find it here. So couldn't use this formula because now you have not the same angle. You have 2 angles here that you have to compute.
If you had A and B, you could do it like that. You might as well just do it that way.
If you had both, yeah, if you knew both angles, yeah. Normally what happens when we write these formulas, we write them like this. We know that these are being subtracted from each other like this. Now the question is, can I make that so they're products of each other? Yeah, So exercise 7, and yes, I skipped it just for time purposes, but it was just one of those like practice one. Okay, cool. So rewrite as a product, and that's it, guys. So we're really just shifting from one to the other. That's it for 5.5 part 2. So all yours to try this yourself. Go. So think about which formula it is, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Anybody give me a hint?
Oh, no. Yeah.
That's the fourth one, right? Because it has a minus there. Yep. So using the fourth formula, there's a -2 out in front. -2 out in front, and this is now is going to be, let's see, it's going to be,
B plus A minus B, right?
so it's going to be alpha plus beta divided by 2. Is that right?
Alpha is A plus B, beta is A minus B.
Alpha is 5x,
Oh,
and beta is 3x. And according to the formula, add them up. So let's see, 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 divided by 2. How about a 4x? Are we good? And then what do we have after that? We have cosine, is that right? No, we have sine, right? Sine, yeah, sine again. Now this one's gonna be the subtraction of those guys and then divide by 2. So 5x minus 3x. There's 2x divided by 2 again. So there it is. You add them up, you get this one, and you subtract them to get this one divided by 2, and just a single x.
we can't
And done. We good?
simplify it more. I feel like it should be simple.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, can't simplify it more because you have x's and you don't know what the angle itself is. So that's it, guys. We're at the end of 5.5. We good? So then we'll review. Actually, we'll do homework on Friday. We good? Go from there. If you need an extra day on it, that'll be fine. Yeah, so you could do it Monday here. So I'm thinking homework on Friday. So let's do this here. Review on Monday, test Wednesday then.
Okay. So you don't want us to turn in, I have a couple of questions on 5.
Yeah, if you have homework questions, please keep them till Friday. We'll do homework questions on Friday.
Oh. Like.